Yes. So, yeah, in the last class we have discussed like what are the three options are there. To deploy what like SQL databases in Microsoft Azure, and we have seen one of the example also we have discussed in the previous class. Okay, creating Azure SQL database, Azure SQL database, right? Right. So let's see, like we'll continue again. Check it. These are the three options are there. We know already. Azure SQL VMs are there. Azure SQL Managed Instance is there. Azure SQL Database is there. These are the three options are there. Okay. Right. Right. So check it like managed instance is there. Already we have seen like complete instance level access is there with us, and always Microsoft will maintain this instance with latest version, right, in managed instance. Okay, right. So in the same way, like check here the intelligence, like how Microsoft is defining it. The intelligent scalable cloud database service that combines the broadest SQL Server database engine capabilities with all the benefits of fully managed and evergreen platform as a service. PaaS actually in PaaS environment. SQL Managed Instance has near 100% compatibility with latest SQL Server Enterprise editions here. So always, yeah, it has latest version. It is the Enterprise edition. Then SQL Managed Instance allows existing SQL Server customers to lift and shift their on-premises applications to the cloud with minimal application and database changes. With minimal changes. Why? Because here some of the data types are not supported here, and yeah, some of the features are not supported. That's why with minimal changes. Okay, so minimal changes. Yeah, we need to go with. So then preserve all past capabilities like automatic patching and version updates, automatic backups, high availability, everything that drastically reduces the administrative workload. One of the biggest difference between managed instance model and Azure SQL VM is here. Managed instance will always be on the most up-to-date version. First point, major differences. Managed instance hosted databases provides the user with at least everything that SQL Server 2019 has to offer up to the latest C. By default, why? Because maintenance is done by Microsoft itself. Automatically, they will apply the latest CUs. Okay, no need to apply by our own. Soon after the next version of SQL Server is released, managed instances will be upgraded automatically. Okay? No need to upgrade by our own. But in VM, remember, we can go with any version, with any edition. We need to do upgradation process if we want to upgrade to a higher version. But here automatically Microsoft will take care of all these things. There are frequent changes in how the engine optimizes requests. So be sure to keep up with the performance changes in your application. Okay, frequent changes in the how engine optimizes. So yeah, some performance changes are done here. The manage instance model will automatically maintain backups of your data, restorable to point-in-time restore based on the level of retention you configure. Retention periods here we can configure like how many days backups can be maintained, like 7 days, 35 days option is there. Okay, as well as we have one option is a long-term backup retention that we'll see again. Yeah, long-term retention policy is it that yeah, in long-term retention policy we can maintain up the backups up to 10 years. Okay, right. See in backup restore, it safeguards your backups from disaster by using read, access, geo-redundant storage. By default, the backups are maintained here in RAGRS. Geo-redundant storage means what? Let's say my database is there in one region. Okay, so backups are maintained, one extra copy is maintained in different region, and in that second region we can read the backups, we can access those backups. Okay, means even like this complete region is collapsed, no problem, backups are there in other region. The managed instance option provides you with auto failure groups are there here. We can configure the geo replication here like always on. Auto failure group means like a listener where we can set the listener actually with the auto failure groups. Right. This lets you configure your server to failure to a different Azure data center if desired, generally with auto failure groups. We'll see in detail again later. Just we have to understand what is the major differences between managed instance and Azure SQL VM. We have to understand. In PaaS, remember, like we have a managed instance is there, which is instance level service. Whereas like SQL DB is there. In SQL DB, again, we have two options are there. One is single database we can maintain, or a group of databases also we can maintain in a elastic pool. A group of databases also we can maintain in the form of an elastic pool. Both can be maintained. Right. So, yes. So these are still like yeah, SQL databases are there, managed instance and SQL VM databases are there. Right. So in the same way, here like for managed instance, yeah, we have seen already fully managed PaaS service, a full isolation and security is it with its own virtual network is it. We'll see. Yeah, we'll discuss in detail again this managed instance. Just here SQL Server on premises or IaaS, Azure SQL Database Services. Azure SQL Database Services are there. In that we have seen managed instances plus single database option is there. We have seen. Okay, so in on-premises it is similar to IaaS only, right? Total features are there where we can create a VM. In VM we are managing the databases. Okay, so in PaaS we have seen manage instances and individual database option is a SQL database option. So here we have more control is it? Why? Because completely the instance, machine, everything is there in our control. Here more isolation is there. Right. So check here like Azure SQL on VM, managed instance, and Azure SQL database. Core usage here, moving workloads to Azure with the least amount of change. With least amount of change, we can up everything we can migrate here almost as it is. Okay, in case of IaaS, whereas in PaaS you're migrating to an environment that needs far less management than IaaS, but it still retains the general SQL Server configuration, everything. Its maintenance becomes less here. Here for new applications here, often cloud-based that have no legacy dependencies. Basically for new startup applications can go with what? Azure SQL database. Backups are managed by DBA. We need to schedule, we need to manage. As well as we have automatic, in case of PaaS here, like automatic backups are there. No need to configure. Can make manual copy only backups also to blob storage. I say even we can take manual copy only. Whereas here, see, our automatic backups are automatic. No need to take manually. Even we can take manually also, like by using export option. Okay, we have export option. Is that we'll export the database into a back file here, back file. So we can take a backup. Right. The file level access, full access is there, means everything is there in our control. Limited to accessing Azure blob storage. In blob storage, whatever the files are there, our data is there, we can access here. See, we can't access the database files. Operating system, Microsoft, Windows, Linux, anyone we can use. Here we don't have the choice to use our own operating systems. Why? Because already Microsoft has created the virtual machine, in that they have installed the SQL Server instance. Right, here also there is no choice to select our own. Internally Microsoft will maintain. Then task scheduling. Here SQL Server agent is there already, for scheduling any jobs. Then in case of manage instance, here SQL agent is there here also, but limited type of jobs we can schedule here, type of jobs. Then here see like we don't have here, see like we have seen already SQL Server agent. So Azure Automation Service is it. By using Azure Automation Service, we need to automate. Then as well as we have something called elastic jobs are there. By using elastic jobs also, we can automate here. We'll see elastic jobs. Right. So in the same way, SQL Server Engine version supported release or bring your own media to install any version. So greenfield, latest release on the latest CU. Databases can be used. Past compatibility levels also is still saying. Latest release, latest CU, compatibility with current release only. High availability is there. We can configure by our own, like log shipping, mirroring, clustering, whatever you want. Built-in disaster recovery by using always-on availability groups, which is built-in here. Here also built-in high availability. So with the geo replication, like they say, like various major differences are there here between these three features here, which are available for SQL databases. Okay, right. Right. Check here, like first what we'll do, we'll go with the first one, Azure SQL Database Service. Okay. Right. Means what, like to manage what, like individual databases. Means like for startup clients to manage individual databases very easily. We have this Azure SQL database service with us. Which comes under your PaaS environment, platform as a service environment. Check it like, yeah, we'll see here SQL Server on Azure overview. Differences between IaaS and PaaS already we have seen. Once again, very briefly, we'll see service tiers and performance levels. Basically, remember in PaaS, we are handling a particular database in a shared server. Shared server. That's why here we have only database level access is there here. We don't have instance level access. Okay, only DB level access is it. That's why only DB level we can configure some features. We can work at DB level. Means what, we don't have complete virtual machine in our hand. That's why here remember performance of databases, it depends on what service tiers and performance levels. Okay, so yeah, so the same way SQL Server logical database logical server is it large. Why? Because here we have seen we are maintaining our databases in a logical server, so which is a shared server. Yeah, firewall rules we have to configure here, like to access our databases, and common configurations we'll see here. Okay, common configurations. Right, right. Uh, let's say we'll start with SQL Server can be implemented already. We have seen this one in the last slide. Yeah, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS environments. Basically, like we have seen previously, we used to use physical machines, okay, with the yeah, raw iron. Then virtualization technology has come into picture in general. So after that same virtualization technology, we are using in the cloud computing platforms. In general, every machines here which we are creating in Azure, for example, so it is basically virtual machine. Then which comes under C, like machines are maintained here in cloud platform in the form of what, infrastructure as a service. So in that, then database level services are there, which comes under what, platform as a service. Then say like Azure SQL database is highly scalable. Microsoft is defining it in a single sentence. Highly scalable, multi-tenant, okay, and highly available platform as a service. Multi-tenant, why? Because in one, let's say in one instance, SQL Server instance is it. In that instance here, like we have databases. Means what, like multiple clients databases are there actually. Maybe we are maintaining some databases, other users are maintaining some databases like this here. Multiple databases are there of different client actually. The same instance, shared instance actually. The shared instance here, like multiple databases are there. Okay, check it. Let's with these two are client one databases. Let's say these are our databases. Okay, this is another client database, for example. Okay, like this here, like in a shared SQL instance, we are maintaining what, multiple databases we are maintaining. Okay, single instance only, multiple DBs we are maintaining. Right. So that's like how we are maintaining say multiple DBs in a single yeah shared instance. So that's why we are calling it as a multi-tenant environment. It is multi-tenant. Okay, right. So yeah. Next year it is also known as database as a service actually. DBAS here from Microsoft offering means you can migrate our databases. We can manage our databases, particular database. Then Microsoft take care of your operating system, storage, networking, virtualization, servers, everything's here. Okay, so Azure SQL database service is database level service which delivers a predictable performance. Means whatever the performance tier we have selected, like how many TTUs, here see number of TTUs we are mentioning, database transaction units per second, number of TTUs. So number of predictable performance levels are there here. Scalability with no downtime. Okay, so we have scalability with no downtime means high scalability we can implement. Business continuity is it means we can implement the yeah high availability features. Data protection availability SLA is there 99.99% availability SLA. It's almost all available. Okay, availability SLA. Then very low levels of administration. That's why like same DBA can manage what multiple databases at a time. Same DBA. So why? Because most of the things are automated here. Uh, task of administration will reduce. Predictable levels are tiers are there where we have basic, standard, and premium. Here, performance levels are there. Here are pricing tiers are there. Mainly basic, standard, and premium. Depends on the usage. We can select the performance tiers. Basically, in basic, database can grow up to 2 GB with 5 TTUs per second. Okay, means what per second 5 transactions are allowed. For example, like they say, like we'll discuss this one. Means depends on the requirement. We can go with the required predictable levels. Then next year, in contrast to Azure SQL VM, with SQL database, you are guaranteed a certain level of performance regardless of usage by other users. Why? Because multiple users are using here. But predictable performance is in Azure SQL database is delivered based on service tiers. Okay, from basic to premium. Just now we have seen the amount of the amount of performance you get on each tier is represented as a number of TTUs here, database transaction units per second. Basically, remember like 5 TTUs per second means what? 5 transactions per second are allowed parallelly. But again, in standard and premium, other yeah, pricing tiers are there. In that, remember, if especially in premium, let's say if you are taking 10 TTUs, so it is almost all equal to 50 transactions. There, one TTU will allow again multiple transactions parallelly in case of what? Standard and premium. Right. Just remember, we'll see again differences. We'll see. Just we have to understand. One DTU is for one transaction, for example. Then The amount of performance you get on each tier is represented as a number of DTUs here. A DTU is database transaction unit and represents a combination of compute, IO, and memories here. Internally, like Microsoft is allocating here like compute, memory, and IO internally for these DTUs automatically. Right, right. So Azure SQL database features. Okay, check here like built-in backups are there. Means no need to schedule the backups. Auditing and threat detection is it. Means what like suspicious attacks on database like SQL injections, all those can be audited, okay, automatically, and the same information we can see like from where means like we can suspicious we can detect plus we can audit here every activity if want. Okay, means who has done what task on which table, everything we can audit. Required events we can audit, or all the events also we can audit by default. Then next one is index advisor is there another important feature here. Means depends on the usage of tables. Means whatever the queries are running on a particular table. So automatically this SQL database service will advise you place the index on this column, you rebuild the index, you reorganize the index. So we'll get your recommendations. We'll get even these recommendations we can automate also. It's what whenever the recommendation is there to rebuild the index, we can say that you rebuild automatically instead of rebuilding by our own. Means database service itself will rebuild. Means advisor is there plus automatic tuning is also there here. Query performance insights are there here. By using this query performance insights, we can see all the queries, means expensive queries we can see here. Okay, top 10 expensive queries we can see. Depends on duration wise, CPU wise, IO wise. We can check here. Like generally, we have by using profiler, we can capture the queries. Okay, like in SQL Server 2016, we have query store. Like same thing here, also query performance insights will capture automatically the top resource consuming queries. Okay, we can start analysis directly. Elastic database pools are there, which we can maintain here a single database, we can maintain individually, or for SaaS applications especially, we can maintain a pool of databases also in a single instance. A pool of databases. Means what we can do, for example, let's say we have SaaS application is there, school management system, 100 clients are there. Okay, so instead of maintaining 100 databases separately with separate pricing tier, okay, we can maintain all these databases. We can group actually all these databases in a pool. Okay, pool level we can set the pricing tier. Pool level. Pool level we can set the number of DTUs. Okay, pool level. Right. So that means what like we can reduce the cost as well as we can maintain multiple databases easily. Means what like in that 100 databases tomorrow I want to create one new stored procedure. I want to create one new table, for example. Directly we can deploy here with the help of this elastic pool. No need to go to every database. No need to run the script. Okay, we can create elastic job something. That elastic job, what it will do? So it will create yeah, it will go to every database. It will create the table, for example. Some benefits are there. We can reduce the cost as well as maintenance benefits are there here. Monitoring its health, we can monitor directly through portal, or we can use our DMVs. We can use it to monitor the health of the yeah, database. High availability feature is there here, geo replication. Already we know geo replication is almost all similar to always on to maintain complete copy of database in another instance and in different location, different region. That's why we are saying geo, different region. The same way replication is there here, data sync one feature is it. By using the data sync features here, we can implement a replication, which is similar to transactional replication, but it is a bidirectional replication. We can implement this data syncs here between Azure databases plus on-premises to Azure database also we can implement here with data sync. Then alerts are there, built-in alerts are there. Just we have to set the threshold value. We have to set the response, means to whom the email should be sent. Okay. So built-in alerts are there. Threshold values we have to set. Means what? Threshold values we can see like number of DT usage is above 80%. I want to get email notification. Okay, so if the log file size reaches up to this, I want to get email notification. That's why all the alerts are there here. Just we have to configure the threshold value. We have to configure the response. Just okay, all the built-in alerts are there. These are like various features of say like our Azure SQL database here. Built-in backups are there, no need to schedule. Auditing and threat detection options are there. Index advisor is there, important feature. Query performance insight is there, like we can check the performance. We can automatically, it will capture what top queries. Then elastic database pools are there basically for SaaS applications. We have seen monitoring we can do directly with portal or by using DMVs. Geo replication is there, data sync is there, built-in alerts are there. These are like benefits of Azure SQL database. Means indirectly we have to understand like the task of administration will reduce here. And we have seen in Azure SQL database, we have performance tiers are there like basic, standard, premium. In basic, remember, we can maintain a database up to 2 GB, whose size is what? 2 GB. In standard, up to 250 GB. In premium, up to 1 TB, 1 terabyte. Premium, but up to 1 terabytes here. Okay, so like this, like we'll see that one performance tiers one by one. We'll discuss. Okay, right. So yes, we'll conclude the session here. We'll continue again tomorrow.